Hey, it's Pete here, founder of Expedition Money, and I want to talk to you today about metrics because a lot of financial wellness programs will have and provide some sort of metrics. How much debt have people paid off? How much more income have people earned? How much has savings gone up? A variety of things like that. And there are always requests to provide more metrics. And the reason is noble here. When you as an employer or an organization or agency want to provide a financial wellness program to people, you want to know that it works. You want to know, hey, my people are getting healthier over time. And there are a number of problems with focusing on specific metrics. And I'll get into these over the next few years, probably, because we could probably talk about each one of them. But oftentimes, the metrics of a program, the things that they're measuring, are not necessarily things that are relevant to you. For example, a lot of programs want to know how much debt is decreasing for my individuals or how much is emergency savings increasing. Well, that can be great, especially if you have hourly wage earners, people on the front lines, people who don't make a lot of money. And maybe it's those first initial financial needs, saving that emergency fund, paying down the credit card. But let's say you're a company that has a lot of corporate employees. So I was working with a technology company, and a lot of the people, even the people who were starting there, were six-figure income earners with college degrees, with advanced degrees, and no one really at the company was a lower income earner. And so the idea of saving some money into emergency fund or paying off the credit card debt just really wasn't the problem. In fact, the company was doing so well, a lot of people who you might not expect to be very wealthy had become very wealthy as they accumulated stock. And so what you wouldn't see in this case is those emergency savings accounts going up or even credit card debt going down. In fact, many of these people had no debt. Some of these people had $15 million homes and no mortgages. So it really depends on the type of people. And so the problem is when some programs start putting certain metrics into their program and that's what they track. One, they try to serve those particular metrics. We try to figure out how can we provide more effort, more resources to make progress on these particular metrics. And a lot of times those programs start to look very much like the metrics. In fact, when we talk about public school systems, a lot of people say, why do we have standardized tests? Because then the teachers teach the test. It's the same thing with these specific metrics. If you have 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 specific metrics, a lot of programs can find themselves on an ongoing basis creating content to serve those particular metrics. And they just may not be relevant to your population. And so, even though I track metrics and I look at metrics, I don't make a lot of those public because I want the ability to be able to pivot and move away from those things or not focus what I'm building on those particular metrics because I want to focus on what's helping people. And sometimes that means increasing debt in the short term. Say for someone who is buying an empty office building because they're going to renovate it, they may be taking on a lot of debt, but this may be a massive step up in wealth for them in the next 6 or 7 months. So, as I've said before, I don't obsess too much about the individual measurements that we use, especially on a macro level. What I do want to see is that everyone that comes in, how do we give them the best experience? How do we help them address what they are working on? Whether it's becoming wealthy or paying off debt or just starting their first emergency fund or starting their first retirement account or whatever it might be. That's why this program will always put the individual user first and not necessarily try to shoehorn them into a box. And so this is very difficult. And I look at a variety of tools to help me try to figure out what I can serve up to individuals. I also try to provide a huge range of content so that people don't necessarily come in and just find stuff for the average person. They're finding stuff that's useful to them. So my goal is not necessarily to help everyone. If you try to be everything to everyone, oftentimes you're nothing to no one. So what I would rather do is help a few people in a big, meaningful way than help a lot of people in non-meaningful ways. And so that's why I do what I do here. But what I do love is hearing about some of our people who are achieving massive things, turning their lives around. And that is really what this program is about. And so that's one of the many reasons that program metrics can actually steer you in the wrong direction. Certainly not bad to have. You want to know that your programs are working, but don't obsess too much about details and the numbers. Figure out what is really helping your people. Hope that helps you later.